All right, go ahead.
I guess just start with this.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for attending today's Planning Commission meeting. The commission is convening today to discuss the proposed fiscal years 2027 to 2032 capital program and the proposed fiscal year 2027 capital budget. The commission is required to review these items. Our vote will advise the mayor and the city council prior to their actions. The bills on our agenda today will also be reviewed at various council committees and the city council, where the meetings will be held publicly and open to comment. Please be respectful of the process and the individuals participating in this meeting. We appreciate the dedication and enthusiasm everyone's giving to this process. Please also be aware that while anyone can speak to an agenda item, staff and commissioners might not respond to every question or comment. During public comment, please only speak to the agenda items that are being reviewed. Please do not restate comments or questions that other members of the public may have already commented on. The commission may request that comments from the public be limited in time so that everyone may have a chance to participate today. And finally, I also want to take the time to thank the staff for putting these meetings together. I'll now call this meeting to order and hand it back to staff to start the meeting. Dave?
Thank you, Jesse, and good morning. David Fecto with the legislative team at the City Planning Commission, here with an important safety announcement. Your safety is our priority. You are currently in room 18029. In an emergency, please listen to announcements on the loudspeaker, which will provide safety information. If you do not hear an announcement, please follow the directions of the security officers and city planning staff. There are 2 doors along the sidewall to your left. These doors lead to the elevator lobby. If an order is given to evacuate this room, the nearest stairway is to your right once you reach the lobby. Follow the exit signs to reach the stairway. If an order is given to evacuate the building, the rally point is at Love Park. Please remain at the rally point so we can account for you. Restrooms are in the lobby across from the elevators. And now I'll turn the meeting over to Abby Sabatka-Briner for some information about the meeting format today.
Thank you, Dave. And once again, welcome to the March 10th, 2026 Philadelphia City Planning Commission meeting. My name is Abigail Sabatka-Briner, she, they pronouns, with the Planning Commission staff, here to review some brief housekeeping procedures for today's meeting. During the meeting, each agenda item will be presented by a member of the Planning Commission staff. Following the presentation, the chair will ask the commissioners for questions or comments. The chair will then ask the audience for questions and comments, and after that, the commissioners will finish their discussion and vote. If you would like to speak during an agenda item's public comment period, click or tap on the raise hand button on the menu bar on the bottom of your screen at any time during that agenda item. You will be called on by the chair and have the opportunity to speak to the commission and the audience. If you're calling into the meeting by phone, you can press *9 to raise your virtual hand to speak. Please use the Q&A function only if you have questions about the meeting process and do not use it for testimony. This meeting is being recorded and will later be posted to our website. If you are in our audience in person, please come to the table when the chair asks for public comments. Write your name on the paper provided, turn on the microphone, and speak to commissioners. And thank you for joining us today. And now I will turn the meeting back over to Jesse Lawrence, Commission Chair.
Thank you, Abby. I'll now take roll call. Commissioner Brian Clinton. Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Lee. And Commissioner Somerville. And I believe we have part. Thank you. We'll get right into the agenda. Business. We have the first, well, actually 2 items on the agenda today. Action item for FY years 27 to 32, the capital program, and the action item for FY 27 capital budget, both to be collectively presented by Nate Dorfman. Nate.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning. My name is Nate Dorfman. My pronouns are he/him. And I am the land use planner for the Philadelphia City Planning Commission's Policy and Analysis team. Our team works on the capital program and budget, which we are here today to present. Today, we will review the recommended FY27 to 32 capital program and FY27 capital budget. Please note, going forward, you will likely hear me switch back and forth between saying fiscal year and FY. FY is the abbreviation for fiscal year, and both terms mean the same thing in the context of this presentation and the recommended capital program and budget. The Planning Commission is charter mandated to prepare and recommend a capital program for the next 6 fiscal years and a capital budget for the next fiscal year. We are meeting today to fulfill that responsibility. The Planning Commission staff, through the policy and analysis team, take a leading role in working with the Budget Office to develop the recommended capital program and budget. This process begins every year in August and runs until June. The steps include, first, preparation for the capital process. Second, the request phase, where departments submit their proposed projects. Third, the review phase, where proposed projects are considered against priorities and limitations. Fourth, the recommend phase, where a financially constrained list of priority projects is developed. Fifth, the revise phase, where the mayor, city council, and members of the public debate and make changes to the recommended program and budget. We are currently in the recommend phase. When developing the recommended capital program and budget, we review various factors. We evaluate capital eligibility, or whether a project meets the legal requirements for funding. We also consider how projects advance equity goals, comply with legal mandates, improve operational performance, and improve implementation performance. Most importantly, we evaluate for consistency with city plans, such as Philadelphia 2035, the comprehensive plan. This is because the Planning Commission's role in capital budgeting is one of the strongest tools for advancing the long-term goals and policies of these plans. Currently, the Planning Commission is working on a new, updated comprehensive plan entitled Philadelphia 2050, Planning Together. Capital investments are allocated towards various projects citywide, including the rebuilding of roads, bridges, and transit that connect employees to jobs and customers to businesses. The upgrading of facilities that protect and serve Philadelphians, and the rebuilding of facilities that safely and reliably manage Philadelphia's water resources. Since fiscal year 2012, the capital budget has generally experienced slight increases with a few standout years. The recommended capital budget for FY27 is 25% lower than the approved FY26 capital budget, but similar in scale to FY22. FY27's recommended capital budget is still one of Philadelphia's largest capital investments within the last 15 years. High local capital investment is important to gaining ground on deferred maintenance and returning city infrastructure to a state of good repair. The mayor's priorities also guide the recommended capital program and budget. This year, Mayor Parker has prioritized clean and green, public safety, core support, and economic opportunity. Each of the proposed projects included in this year's recommended program and budget has been sorted into one of these categories. Clean and green includes projects such as park improvements, sustainability initiatives, and trail facilities. Public safety includes projects such as police stations, fire stations, Office of Emergency Management programs, and the reconstruction of local bridges. Core support includes projects such as roadway pavings, office renovations, facility improvements, and fuel tank replacements. Economic opportunity includes projects that support regional destinations like the Philadelphia Zoo and projects that advance improvements along neighborhood commercial corridors such as the Maplewood Mall. One of the most important aspects of the capital program and budget is that they provide local match for state and federal funds, multiplying their impact for residents, businesses, workers, and visitors. Utilizing a greater amount of operating funds, referred to as city revenue or CR, helps us to complete more projects and cover the rise in project cost without taking on additional debt. We will see this later when we look at the sources of all funds. As we review the recommended capital program and budget, our attention is most focused on the City New or CN funding. CN funds are supported by new bonds issued by the city. CN creates new debt obligation that increases our annual operating expenses until the bonds are paid off. The next two charts showcase the recommended CN funding, as well as the total funding each department would receive from all sources. I will list CN amounts. For fiscal year 27, the recommended capital budget includes, for Art Museum, $2 million CN. Aviation, no CN. Commerce, $14,500,000 CN. Creative Philadelphia, $2,300,000 CN. Finance, $12,500,000 CN. Fire, $11,900,000 CN. Fleet Services, $32,116,000 CN. Free Library, $6,500,000 CN. Health, $1 million CN. Managing Director's Office, $30,800,000 CN. Office of Homeless Services, $1 million CN. Office of Sustainability, $5,100,000 CN. Office of Innovation and Technology, $16,398,000 CN. Parks and Recreation, $33,300,000 CN. Police, $2 million CN. Prisons, $9 million CN. Public Property, $13,250,000 CN. Records, no CN funding. Sanitation, $1 million CN. Streets, $73,700,000 CN. Transit, $10,806,000 CN. Water, no CN funding. Zoo, $2 million CN. The total for the recommended FY27 capital budget, $281,170,000 CN. And finally, total recommended for all funds is $8,223,777,000. The recommended FY27 capital budget in CN reflects additional funding for new healthcare facilities, improvements to municipal facilities, as well as ADA improvements and the reconstruction and resurfacing of streets. In addition to CN, funding sources include carried forward loans authorized in previous years, is also referred to as CT, other city funds, which are city revenue, CR, reallocated funds previously authorized, CA, and recurring funds, also referred to as Z funds. We also have city self-sustaining funds, which come from non-tax sources such as fees. These funds are self-sustaining carry-forward loans, XT, self-sustaining revenue, XR, and self-sustaining new loans, XN. We also have private funds, which are PT, PO, and PB. We have federal funds, FT, FO, and FB. We have state funds, ST, SO, and SB, and other government funds, TT, TO, and TB. We will discuss these other funding sources in detail as we look at the recommended FY27 to 32 capital program. Since the recommended FY27 to 32 capital program reflects the total projected spending for 6 fiscal years combined, the figures discussed in this section will be quite large and numerous. This first chart highlights city funds that are tax supported. As previously mentioned, these funds include CT, carried forward loans authorized in previous fiscal years, CR, operating revenue allocated to the capital budget, CN, new loans, CA, pre-financed loans authorized in previous fiscal years and reallocated to new projects, and A, PICO loans authorized in previous fiscal years. That brings the subtotal for city tax supported funding sources to $1,689,980,000 in FY27 and $2,957,334,000 for the recommended capital program. Self-sustaining funding sources are not supported by city tax revenues. For the recommended FY27 to 32 capital program, these funding sources include XT, carried forward loans authorized in previous fiscal years, XR, operating revenue allocated to the capital budget, and XN, new loans. That brings the subtotal for city self-sustaining funding sources to $3,545,656,000 for FY27 and a subtotal of $8,905,225,000 for all city self-sustaining funds in the capital program. I'm going to take a moment to pause before we go through the last 2 charts. Other city funds include revolving funds, as well as private, federal, state, and other government agency funding. These funds may come as grants, pass-through funds, or direct intergovernmental funding. Off-budget funds do not show up in the capital budget, but are listed in the capital program. Other city funds include Z, revolving funds, TT, carried forward funds from other governments authorized in previous fiscal years, TO, other government funds that are off budget, TB, other government agency funds, ST, carried forward state funds authorized in previous fiscal years, SO, state funds that are off budget, and SB, state funds. Other city funding sources also include PT, carried forward funds from private sources authorized in previous fiscal years, PB, private funding allocated to the capital budget, FT, carried forward funds from federal sources authorized in previous fiscal years, FO, federal government funds that are off budget, and FB, federal funds. That brings the subtotal for other city funding sources to $2,988,141,000 in FY27 and a subtotal of $10,269,997,000 for all city self-sustaining funds in the capital program. To summarize everything we just went over, the total recommended FY27 to 32 capital program is $22,132,556,000. The total recommended FY27 capital budget is $7,591,926,000. Looking ahead, the next steps to adopt and approve the capital program and budget include today's presentation of the recommended budget to the Planning Commission. The second step will be the mayor's budget address. Third will be when City Council introduces the ordinance, holds budget hearings, negotiates with the mayor, and makes revisions. Fourth, PCPC staff will present the revised budget at the Planning Commission. And fifth, City Council holds a final hearing where it votes on the revised capital budget. The Planning Commission can expect to see an amended capital program in June, after the mayor and city council agree on a final list of capital projects and costs. After all of these steps, the Pennsylvania Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority, otherwise known as PICA, will review the adopted budget and give its final approval. Staff recommendation is for approval.
Thanks, Nate, for the presentation.
Yep.
Are there any questions from the commissioners on the budget and recommendations as presented? Any? Commissioner Lee?
A large multi-billion-dollar capital program is enormously complex, and I commend the work and the staff behind that. I do not yet have enough knowledge of the process to make an informed judgment right now, but one suggestion is maybe in order to come more prepared, include some of this material in the commissioner training for incoming commissioner, and perhaps some type of quarterly updates of agency spending and priorities could be included in future meetings. With that, I do have two questions.
Sure.
One is the carry forward. So this year in the capital program, there's about 30% increase in the carry forward over last year's carry forward. Is there a particular reason due to macroeconomic issues?
Yep. So we have a really wide-ranging team of people collaborating with us on the capital program and budget, and I'd like to defer to Tavari Brown on that.
Sure. Maybe I can ask the second question so we don't pass the mic back
sure.
and forth so much.
Yeah.
And then the second question is the federal, state, and private, in one line. I guess with the fact that some of the federal funding has been receding because of changes.
It has been a challenge.
So is the state stepping up, or how do you project that in the next 6 years?
We'll defer to Tavari on both, if that's okay.
All right, how's everything going? Tavari Brown, Deputy Budget Director for Capital. So, for your first question in regards to carry forward, I think, and I know this is your first budget cycle with us, but we've actually gone down a lot as far as historical spending on carry forward. The reason why it's so large this year is because based off of the timing when carry forward is calculated, our budgets have been going up over the past few years, and no money's been spent we calculate carry forward in December, right? So the money was just available for the FY26 money around that time. So all of that, all the resources that we had last year in the budget count as carry forward, including everything in the prior to that. So it's inflated because over the past few years, our budgets have been increasing, but the actual amount of prior year funding from like fiscal year wise has been decreasing because we've been doing a lot of good work of spending more money over the past few years. Actually, we had the most capital spending that we've had in, I want to say history. I'm going to say history for now, but last year. So we've been doing pretty good. And in regards to your second question, which was the difference between federal funding and our other resources, I wouldn't necessarily say that the state budget is covering for what the federal government has been providing. Overall, within capital, I'm just going to speak for the overall budget. We haven't lost a lot of grants. We've lost a couple of big ones, but and that was changed the timeline of certain projects, and that was found within, let's say, water and streets. But overall, most of our funding is formulaic uh, from our sources that receive grants, and then from a competitive perspective, I think our team with law and the respective departments have done a great job of acquiring those federal grants. So uh, I think we've done a pretty good job about that. And the state, in their particular role, has provided grants, but not necessarily a full covering of what was missing from the federal level.
Just since we have you, is there any implication on the Plan 2026 activities, and is that reflected in any way in the capital budget we're presenting here?
All right. So I'll say in 2026, semi-quincentennial, right? All right. I've been practicing, right? Uh, a lot of the resources for the activities that are going to occur in 2026 actually came before fiscal 27's budget. So we've provided funding in fiscal 26, 25, more in 26, through amendments to make sure that we are adequately resourced, if you will, or as much as we can provide, I should say, to support the differences in the capital side. Also, within the operating budget, there have been resources provided for some of the special event related items that aren't necessarily capital, but are needed to keep things open and safe. So 2027 doesn't have as much specifically for that item for 2026 activities.
Any more questions? Any questions from the public? Anybody online?
There were no questions online and none in the chat. Dave, do we have any from the planning email? Okay, then that's everything.
I'll now call for a vote at this point. We have two items on the agenda. One is the capital planning, a capital program for FY 27 to 32, and the other recommendation is for the approval of capital budget for FY 27. Is there a motion to accept the staff recommendation for approval for capital program FY 27 to 32? We have a motion properly first with Commissioner Clinton and properly second by Commissioner Somerville. I'll now poll Commissioner Clinton, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Lee. This is capital program. Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Somerville. Motion carries. Yeah. Thank you so much. And now we have, again, the second recommendation, which is for the approval of capital budget for FY 27. Is there a motion to accept the staff recommendation for approval? Commissioner Clinton first. We have a properly second from Commissioner Somerville. I'll now poll Commissioner Clinton, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Lee, Commissioner Somerville. The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Any new business, old business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. First from Commissioner Somerville, probably second by Clinton. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much.